just playing autoplay for hours. First it'll play a real nursery rhyme video. Then it'll play another real nursery rhyme video.
Okay.
But then the quality will start to degrade. This video was developed by people in India who used basically keyword scrapers
Right.
to figure out what was getting the most plays on YouTube.
And make stuff that would also get hits, basically.
Yeah. And so what happens is after a few runs, the autoplay algorithm on YouTube would play complete garbled nonsense.
Right.
Now here's what's funny. When you look at that as a sentient human adult who is like learned even a little bit, you're like, this is insane.
Yes.
But what would happen if someone took an amalgamation of general politics and mashed it all together and then presented it for you? It would look real. To a baby, they can't tell the difference. They see this, the baby's like, oh, that's just, yep, that's the only thing I know.
Here now, yeah.
So here's what happens with social justice politics. Facebook started, early on in Facebook's days, a bunch of blogs started popping up, like Huffington Post, BuzzFeed. And they found that by exploiting Facebook's algorithm, they could get a ton of shares on their articles and make a lot of money.
Okay.
But it was completely dependent upon Facebook, people on Facebook clicking share. Something truly fascinating ends up happening. A website like Huffington Post will write about a police brutality article.
Okay.
You know, like some police brutality thing happens. 100,000 shares? They get 10 million views, and they're like, we just made 40 grand off of that one article that took you 10 minutes to write?
Yeah.
Write more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then something even stranger happens. BuzzFeed writes about sexism, and that also gets 10 million, right? So the algorithm says sexism, show this more because people share it. Racism, show this more because people share it. And then a light bulb appeared over Jonah Peretti's head.
Racist.
Boom.
Booyah. Making the money.
And that's how you get intersectional feminism. So now on Facebook, all of a sudden, they started jamming as many things as possible into their articles. And so intersectionality was the key, man. It was the obvious outcome of Facebook's algorithmic manipulation. An article about sexism gets you X views.
Yeah.
An article about racism gets you Y views. An article about sexism and racism gets you X plus Y views.
All I can think of is that woman talking about Ivanka. And how that article just had she hit every different point she could even.
Exactly.
We were like, how did it even go there? But nope, she was just putting it all in there to hit all the check boxes.
And it might not even be on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a natural tendency. So here's what happens. I mentioned when I say Jonah Peretti and BuzzFeed, those are hypotheticals. I'm using them as examples because this is what they're accused of doing by, like, Jeff Jarvis is a professor, and he did some Twitter thread about how BuzzFeed's whole business model was basically using Facebook's algorithm.
Okay.
When Facebook changed this, they all panicked and lost a ton of money and laid a ton of people off. So, but now we end up seeing this tendency occurs, right? The first thing that happened was this. Crickler News pops up, right? Ooh, a legitimate news source. Crickler News pops up on Facebook.
It's not a thing, but
It's not a thing. I thought it was. So let's say the year 2007, and someone creates the Cricklington Post.
an interesting twist.
Yes, the Cricklington Post is straight news. Straight news.
Yo, only the real news. That's
Only
what
the
we
real
do
news.
at Cricklington.
And so it was articles that were like, today in Syria, 17 fighters approached the U.S. border and, surrendered. Really, really boring, dry stuff.
Okay.
At the same time, the Huffington Post pops up. They both... And someone creates the Cricklington Post. The interesting twist is, yes, the Cricklington Post is straight news. Straight news. Yo, only the real news. That's what we do at Cricklington.
I thought I was muted the entire time.
Today in Syria,
I'm sorry, Tim.
from the U.S. border.